Welcome to KGXT, Gen X Talks podcast, live from Central California.
Making plans with the boys. I'm gonna hit the town. Yeah, I'm gonna make some noise. I'll push past the pain and my wounded pride. I'm gonna live it up. Yeah, stay out all night. But sure, I've had some better times. And I can't count all the tears I cried. And maybe down my last time. Yeah, but the blues took me just fine.
Need to get done.
You want to get the other one going?
Yeah, it's going.
No, it is going. Okay, well, can I be on camera,
Yeah,
please?
whenever you're ready. You ready?
I'm ready now, baby.
You sure?
Do I look like I'm
making
ready?
sure. Sometimes I put the camera on him. He's just
I'm
not
gonna
ready.
walk over there and whoop your ass if you don't get going. Right? Goddamn now.
He's sitting there going like this on his phone, just like.
I swear to
you
Christ.
started it? Why'd you start it? I was
Turn
like,
on the
"Tell me
fucking
you're ready."
camera. Goddamn redneck, hippie, hillbilly kid of mine. Hey, welcome to the KGXT Radio and KGXT Studios, broadcasting 200 feet below occupied California in the Central Valley. You have reached us. It's another interview. Now, if you're looking for the podcast where my wife kicks the shit out of me for an hour, you're going to have to wait. This is one of the interviews. This is one of the more fun things to do. I don't have to sit here and get tortured. And today we have a very special guest. We've been talking about it for a while. It's Scott Robertson. It's Scotty, and he is part of the Loomis Cigar Cartel. He does it's a podcast. He does a really good podcast called Beyond the Humidor. He's from up north. He also lives under the umbrella of Gavin Newsom, like we all do, and we all pay homage to Gavin Newsom because we love him so much. Everything he does is right. He's the golden boy of California. Let's not forget that. Got to put in that 2 cents. That way I don't get censored by anybody, and the black helicopters don't show up. All right, so let's bring Scotty on. There, look at that, my man.
Hey.
You made it. Now, I know, we got to start with the drink, baby.
Yes, we do.
I can't let you get it. For those of you tuning in, it's 10 o'clock at night, so it's appropriate drinking time. It's not 10 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday. This to you, brother. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate
Thank you for inviting me.
So you heard tell about the studio,
Oh, man.
and now you're here.
Yeah. Man, this is amazing. Before we begin, though, I have a present for you.
You do?
Yes, this is from the Placencia house. It is called the Etafal, which is Arabic for celebration. Cigar that was made specifically for the 2022 FIFA World Cup.
Really?
They only made 5,000 boxes of this, and it's boxes of 10, and the U.S. got 2,500 of them. I got box number 3247, and this is from that lot. We will be smoking this.
My man. I don't know that we can smoke in here because we haven't made those rules up yet about getting the smell out of here when we have other guests and like my wife. But we got a fire pit outside with some chairs around.
Oh, we're doing it,
It's
man.
going to go nice.
Oh, yeah. You're going to love that.
You're gonna love the wood pile, man.
You stop about that wood pile. This kid, I
No,
tell
okay,
you,
wait. Seriously, the other day,
All right.
he's going down to.
I had to go to Fontana.
And I'm a home alone. He gives me this huge list to do. Well, it's usual. I'm okay with that. I'm getting
Chores.
it done. Yeah, chores. Whatever. We have a huge pile of 1x1s because we redid our pergola.
All right.
And
Now, hold on. The kid took 13-foot strips of 1x1. They were 13 feet long, cut them down to about a piece each. So he had 700 of them. He threw them in a pile like he was blind. Just threw them in a fucking pile.
It's just a wood pile. It's just a big pile of 1x1s.
It bothered me. It didn't look right. It didn't look organized.
What wood pile looks right? What makes a wood pile look
So
right?
There has to be order to it.
A little bit. There's got to be something. So
There
yesterday,
was order. They're all in one spot.
so I told him yesterday while I was gone, I said, you fucking get this squared away and make sure this shit is right. And so he calls me, goes, you really want me to stack all these there's 700 of them.
Yes, 800 1x1s. Move them 5 feet to the left.
Because I didn't want you to put them, knowing you'd have stacked them right behind the fire pit where they could get caught on fire. So yes, I gave you some additional instructions. Big deal.
Isn't that one of the reasons why you wanted like a deep fire pit too? So less things would catch on fire because the trees are above it?
Listen, I'm trying to do anything I can to not let you fuck up my backyard. Believe me, yes, I am. So,
Okay. This reminds me, a buddy of mine, he's former Air Force, and he tells me the story of when people fuck up, they get to spend a day out on the tarmac. So how it would work is you go for disciplinary training, whatever they called it. There are these footprints, just like they are in the Corps over at the recruitment depots over at Paris Island and San Diego. They have just like one set of footprints. You stand on those footprints, and it could be cold, hot, or whatever, and you just stand there. Don't know how long you're going to stand there, and then you get what they call swarmed. 3 instructors just start screaming at you. That's not the part that reminds me of what you guys were talking about. It's the part where
I thought you were going to associate me with 3 drill instructors.
No.
That's bad.
No. There's the part where they get through yelling at you, and then they tell you to move one pile of rocks over to another location. So you do that. You get done. Someone comes walking down and looks at you and says, "What the fuck are those? Why are those here? Move those motherfuckers back to where you found them." Then you do that. Then you're doing it one at a time. Someone walks up to you and says, "What the fuck are you doing, Mr. Rock?" You're looking like, I don't know. Mr. Rock doesn't go any fucking place without Mrs. Rock. You find Mrs. Rock, goddammit. That's not Mrs. Rock. What are you trying to do? Get Mr. Rock in trouble?
Have you seen the movie The Last Castle with Robert Redford?
Yes.
You remember the scene when he had to pick up and move the whole wall one rock at a time?
Yes.
He calls me yesterday halfway through this chore. He's like, he goes, all right. He goes, I don't remember Robert Redford's name in the movie The Last Castle, but that's me. I'm moving these goddamn pieces of wood across the yard one at a time. You know what? Just like him in the movie for no reason. There is no reason to be doing this, Dad. I hung up. I'm like, shut the fuck up and do what you're told. Goddamn kids.
Yeah, but remember who the CO was. It was James Gandolfini. You can just go Tony Soprano on his ass.
I could have done it, yeah. I could have just come out there and started screaming at him. So I know you know what the fuck you're doing. I do. Oh, so let's get back to Scotty. Let's not get sidetracked on my idiot kid here. Now, where'd you grow up? Didn't you grow up in Southern California?
I did. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. The first week of my life, and this is no exaggeration, a clothes drawer was my bassinet.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I was the youngest of the 2 of us, but at the time, my folks didn't have a bassinet. I had to wait till my pops got paid or beg, borrow or steal a bassinet. So my mother always makes the joke. It's like, oh yeah, we got a little drawer. We put blankets in it and plopped you right in it. I said, did you ever close me in the drawer?
Well, only for security purposes to keep you safe.
Yes.
Do that.
Yeah. So I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. I left South Central when I was about 11, 12, moved to Oxnard, California over on the Gold Coast. And I spent the 80s there. And
you went to college out there too, didn't you?
Yeah, for a short time I went to UC Santa Barbara.
Wow.
Then dropped out and then dropped back in Orange County over in Irvine.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Did a little homework on you.
Okay.
I also know that you've lived in the Greater Sacramento area. I looked up some of the addresses. I'm like, this fucker got evicted a lot of times because it shows you move. So I use the term evicted because I can. I don't know any better. So you've been bouncing around up there for a little bit now too.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Well, let me ask you something, and we'll get to the cigar. The whole point of you being here is you are the cigar expert, the aficionado. This is what you do. This is a real huge passion of yours, which is why you also have the podcast Beyond the Humidor.
Yeah.
When did you first start getting into cigars, man? Because cigars is an acquired taste.
It truly is.
Not everybody likes smoking a cigar.
Right.
So when did that happen for you?
So when I got to UC Santa Barbara, I got roomed up with a cat, Paul Crabtree, great buddy of mine. And then we kind of lost touch a little bit. And then when I was in Fairfield, his folks lived in Vacaville, and he was applying to go to LAPD. So he asked a favor of me and said, hey, can you write me a letter of recommendation for LAPD? Which I did. And I guess he heard from somewhere the letter I sent him. He said, man, that was a beautiful letter.
Wait. What qualifies you to write a letter to the LAPD?
Because I knew him in college.
That's it.
That's it. He needed like a reference.
So you were just a generic character reference.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you were the coolest cat he knew? Good God.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, it worked. You did it. Yeah, good.
So he was real appreciative of it. And he's like, hey, you know what? We're going to celebrate. And this is when you could smoke pretty much wherever you wanted. This is like 90, right before my second daughter was
back
born.
When they had ashtrays
96.
built into the door handles of cars. Door panels had ashtrays in them.
Yeah. So we went to Starbucks of all places. Got a little frothy, chocolatey, whipped creamy coffee drink. He breaks out a cigar. I ain't scared. Why not? Cut, lit, And I'm sitting there. We're sitting there talking, just shooting the shit about old times, about the times we got drunk in college, the time when I tried to save my drunken friend from IV Foot Patrol, a.k.a. Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department.
IV Foot Patrol?
That's what they called them. It was like...
That's what they call them, is what you called them.
No, that's what they called them.
All right.
They had a post in Isla Vista right next door to the college, and it was Isla Vista Foot Patrol, but it's a substation of the Santa Barbara County Sheriff.
So no cars.
Oh, there were cars, all right.
Okay.
So Friday night, we go to someone's house and just get completely shit-faced.
Yeah.
And one of our floor buddies, he's getting questioned by the cops across the street. My drunk ass is like, hey, man, is that BJ? BJ's in trouble. He's in danger. We got to go help BJ.
You got to do something.
Yeah, man, we got to do something. We can't let him. And they're like, no, they grabbed me, dragged me back to the dorm and said, oh, no, we're not going
Scotty's
to jail
all
tonight.
drunk going, this injustice will not stand, man.
And he was a white guy. I was trying to save the white guy.
Oh, my God. That's funny. That's something you don't see every day, I tell you. So
anyway,
you wrote the letter. You got his deal.
And we sat back, smoked cigars, and talked. And I was like, hey, I kind of like this. And by that time, it was just kind of like an occasional thing. I'd be in a mall somewhere. It's like, hey, the Tinderbox, they have cigars. I liked it the last time, so I grab a couple. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm not making this a habit. It's probably not the greatest habit to have, so I'm just going to pick up one or two and hold on to those, and they last for about a month or two.
I wonder if there's a term for, like you say, when you're an alcoholic. An alcoholic can say, I just drink occasionally, and this won't become a habit, and I just, I can quit whenever I want, but that's an alcoholic. What do they call it when you do that with cigars?
That's a powerful question.
They need to have a word for that.
We do. Man, you're an idea man. So I'm sitting here, and then in about, let's see, right before my first divorce, I started smoking more, and then...
No,
I get
no
divorced.
correlation, of course.
No correlation. Then I get divorced and have my own apartment. And I thought to myself, okay, I've got my furniture. I need a cigar box. That's what I'm calling it. I need something to store some cigars. I need a cigar box. So I went to this little place over in downtown Sacramento off of 16th and V. At the time, it was Casillas Cigars. Old guy was rolling them. Traditional kind of Cubanish cigar place. Poppy, he's rolling them.
Yeah.
His wife is standing watch. You buy it, about maybe 5 or 10 from him. He rings them up, and when his wife's not looking, he throws about 3 more into the bag. And then I saw this beautiful little wood box, and I was like, I need one of those for my cigars. So I bought about maybe 20 or 30 cigars, got my humidor, I've got it on my coffee table, and it's like, I don't have a wife. I can smoke.
do what I want.
Yeah.
Hey, how old were you at this time, would you say?
I was, that was 2002, so I would have been about 32.
Okay, I want to point something out. This is just a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert observation,
All right.
but you notice in that story, ladies and gentlemen, he said, all right, I was divorced, and I had my furniture. I needed to get some cigars. He didn't talk about food. He didn't talk about something to drink. He didn't talk about getting some new clothes. He didn't talk about changing the oil in his vehicle so he'd get to work the next day. He says, all right, I got a place to sit. I need a cigar. That's all. That's what I took away from the story. Just so you know.
You understand all that other stuff was taken care of.
Oh,
It wasn't
okay.
like I was buck naked going, hey, I need some cigars.
Well, you just said you took time to make mention of the furniture.
Yeah. I was setting up the apartment.
Well,
Everything was just flowing along.
You didn't say, with my life in order, I went to get cigars. You said, I got furniture. Where's my stogies? That's all you said.
Nah, you got me there. You got me. So yeah, that's when I started like really smoking cigars.
You know what the hard part to understand? This is a question I legitimately wanted to ask you. Is
Okay.
that how do you say this without fucking up? How do you get someone hooked on cigars? That's not what I'm trying to say. That is not the message. But when you introduce someone to a cigar, I've learned you got to be careful because you can give them something that has such a strong bite. They're like,
Yeah.
this is horrible. This is what cigars all about. No. They don't want that. But and that goes for giving a gift too. You'd have to know a couple things. My question is, and I'm fucking this up completely.
No, I'm following you.
How would you know what to give someone as a very first cigar? Secondly, how would you know to give someone who smokes cigars as a gift? Because expensive doesn't always mean good.
Exactly.
You know, I found that out the hard way with cigars.
Yes.
I bought a couple and I'm like, these are horrible. I just wasted money on these.
Yep.
So those are two questions. What's a good, if you're going to give someone a first cigar, how do you figure out what you're giving them and which one would you recommend? And then if it's going to be a gift to a guy who smokes, you want him to try something. What are those two right there, and how would you get to your conclusion?
So two-part question there. The first part, if someone is just starting out in cigars and you have someone who's an aficionado, which only means that you've smoked more than one cigar, there are no... I mean, I don't think there's true aficionados.
That is some loose terminology.
People, you know what? People like to pass off this aficionado thing like all of a sudden, I know everything is to know about cigars.
Yeah.
I know the road and the this and the that. Some people, like you take my co-host Larry, for instance.
Yeah.
We've talked about cigar taste. You get these people who are like cigar sommeliers who will sit there and say, well, the Colorado wrapper with the Nicaraguan binder, it has tints of French toast, or it gives me memories of popcorn when my camp counselor molested me. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So is there a cigar called This One Time at Band Camp?
Again, idea guy. If you're starting out, anybody with if you smoke cigars for more than 5 minutes, you know, we are not giving you a Maduro. We're not giving you something dark. We're giving you something which is light Connecticut, something that's just very smooth. And if we've been around for a while, it's like, okay, if you want to start out in cigars, here's where we're going to go.
Yeah.
Now, I have a couple of stories there. I was over at my wife's best friend. She had a new boyfriend. I really like said boyfriend because he likes cigars and drinking and hanging out. As I used to look at her sometimes and say, don't fuck this up for me.
Yeah, I'm vested in this relationship.
Do not fuck this up.
I like how your wife's best friend picked a boyfriend similar to you. Yeah. I'm digging that part. It's like, all right, thanks for bringing someone along. This isn't baggage. This is cool.
Yes, I love it.
All right.
So we were sitting back smoking in the backyard. Then another couple came, friends of ours. And poor guy, he came to join us and he says, oh, yeah, I'll take a little bit of whiskey and a cigar. It's like, you sure? Yeah. And it was, you know, he had never smoked cigars before, but he grabbed something that was medium and he's smoking it and he's drinking it. And his wife can tell from the inside of the house that he's just turning green.
Oh.
He's like, oh, Houston, we have a problem. And she kind of sweetly calls him in. It's like, oh, yeah, he's not about this life. I understand.
But he had drank before, so you weren't fucking him up with the whiskey too, right?
No.
You can't. Yeah. I've never drank and I've never smoked a cigar. Let me in.
Yeah, the cigar kind of did him in.
Have you ever turned green? You ever got yourself? We did that once.
I never have actually
done it one time, and it was only because we were filming something, and in this scene, I had to smoke a few times during the scene, and we kept doing that scene like 47 times. So I smoked a whole cigar in 8 minutes. And by the time I got there, I was like, okay. And I went over as dry heaving for about 3 minutes. I'm like, okay, I knew what did it.
Yeah.
You know, it's because we were filming and I had to do this thing. The beginning of the scene was me, you know, puffing it out, the cloud of smoke, and then I kind of appear.
Yes.
Yeah, try that again. All right. You know, so yeah, I've only done that once, but it was on accident and for a cause.
Yeah, at our home cigar shop, Tobacco Republic, one Christmas they had the Chisel Challenge, and there was this cigar called the Chisel. It was a dark about this long, and you had to see. It was a contest to see who could smoke it down first. So they had 4 willing victims.
You're just begging for that.
Oh, yeah. Basically, the winner, yeah, he got through it in about 35 minutes. And as soon as he did, he went to the bathroom and upchucked like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't doubt that a bit.
Ooh.
It makes me queasy hearing you tell the story. So
yeah,
let's go back. What was it? What cigar? The cigar you gave your wife's best friend's new boyfriend? Is that what you would recommend now? What would you give a first-time person just to try something?
First-time person again, something light. So along the lines of either. We have over at Tobacco Republic, they have these cigars they sell in bundles, really inexpensive. They're like $4 a cigar.
Yeah.
And they're light. Not a lot of flavor, but get you kind of used to it. And usually if I have guests come to my house, I have a drawer full of them.
Just in case.
And I say, Here you
Yeah.
go. You don't get to touch anything else until you finish that cigar.
Right.
Because what usually happens if I give someone one of my good cigars, even the lighter one like an Illusion or a Perdomo 10-year with 10-year champagne, which is a lighter one, people will do this number. Oh, yeah, this is pretty cool. And then set it down. And
Yeah.
it's just like, they took 3 puffs of it, and I'm just like, for the love of... I'm just like...
That's when you want to start. But you know what? Give me $20. You ain't having this lady. $20. You finish it, I'll give you $20 back.
Exactly. I like that cigar deposit.
Cigar deposit. I'm just saying,
That was a freaking idea, man. I should be writing this shit down.
Oh, you got that one for free, America and Denmark. All right, so now change it up one more step up. You know a guy he smokes. He's got cigars. He's had a few. Been doing it for years. What do you give him to say, hey, this is kind of unique, something a little different? I'm not saying you're trying to make an impression, but what do you give a guy as a gift? And remember, everybody listening to this is going to be hanging on what you say right now because they know a person that smokes. And they're going to go, okay, whatever he says, I'm going to go get one of those because they don't know what to get. I wouldn't know what to get.
Okay, I would say this. If you know the person fairly well, you pretty much know what they smoke.
Right.
You know if they gravitate towards Perdomo, Rocky Patel, Apostate, Illusion, you kind of have an idea.
Sure.
And in that case, you kind of go with what they're smoking. And if they have like a 10-year anniversary or a 25-year anniversary or something unique out of the line and say, okay, I'm going to get this unique one. Like this one, for instance, if, I'm a fan of Plasencia. So, someone gave me this, it would just be like, holy shit, man.
Right. But you would say if you know someone who smokes, you kind of know what they smoke.
Yeah.
So you're saying give them what they smoke or give them something? Wouldn't you go?
Give
Okay.
them something unique out of the line. If you could, this is where.
Now, what if I went in, let's say I knew what you smoke. My dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert brain using $3 words, I'd go into a cigar shop and go, my buddy smokes these. Do you got something similar? Because I don't want to give him the same one. Can a cigar guy pick something out similar to what he smokes?
Yes, a true tobacconist. Here's the thing about tobacconists, and we talk about this on the show. If the tobacconist guides you over to the most expensive cigar, something high-priced, run. Because basically they're just trying to take your money.
Yeah, they're just selling you something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, well, here, try this Padron. I mean, everyone loves Padron, but those things run between 30 and 60 bucks. You could go with an Atabey, which is like cigar about this big for about 45 bucks. You can go all over the map, and we won't even talk about Cubans being at their now Hong Kong prices. So this is where a good tobacconist, if you say, hey, my friend smokes Rocky Patels and I want to get him something for his birthday, Christmas, whatever. And you look through and say, well, do you know, the strength of what he smokes? And it's like, well, I'm not quite sure. Okay, well, let's get him in something medium, like a Corojo, and try this one. It's like, hey, this is a special one, and guide you through there. And then, he'll ask, okay, what's your price point?
It's kind of like It's kind of like having a good mechanic that can walk you through. It's having a good doctor. It's something that specializes in that area. Guy who knows his wines.
Yes.
Guy who knows wines. Who can tell you. So what'd you call him? Is there a title?
Tobacconist.
You made that up.
Nope.
You just made that up on the spot.
Hand of God, tobacconist.
Tobacconist.
Yes.
That's a made up word. My son usually chimes in and goes, all words are made up, Dad. Which he's right. That's technically true. All words are made up at some point. So I hate when he does that, because when I yell at him for not speaking correct, like, oh, you just made up that fucking word. He goes, they're all made up at some point, Dad. So this may catch on. Might be in Webster's next year. You don't know.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. What was I going to tell you about Cubans? I had a story about Cubans. I tried to smuggle 2 Cubans back in my shirt pocket.
Okay.
On a cruise ship. I didn't make it.
What? How did you mess this up? I need to hear this.
We went down to Mexico, and it was just on a cruise. You do the Ensenada and stuff like that.
The booze cruise.
Yeah, and then you come back, and I had picked up a couple of Cubans from this guy, and I just stuffed them in my shirt pocket. And my wife was like, "You gonna get away with this?" Fuck yeah, I'm gonna get away with this. And because they were in my shirt pocket, and you couldn't see them.
Right.
It was a deep pocket right here, and it was just stuffed in there. And so you getting off the boat and you go through the little checkpoint, and you get 2,500 people on the cruise ship, and technically you're going through customs, but nobody's checking your shit.
Right.
You're on a cruise liner. You're a bunch of middle-aged people. I was probably 33 or 34 at the time. But every now and then they would take someone out of line, just like when you're crossing the border in a car. Sometimes they take a car over and just check.
Oh, yeah.
They fucking patted me down. He says, "What's in your pocket?" I said, "Well, we start with none of your fucking business." He says, "Well, where's?" I said, "Did I already cross the border? Am I not technically in the United States right now? You can pull that shit over there, but I'm across the border." He's like, "What's in your pocket?" I said, "They're not Cubans." He goes, "Look, if we can make this real easy, or you can make this a long, drawn out process." He goes, "Just give them to me." And I said, "Or," he goes, "well, the long process is you get processed." And I went, "Here, I don't smoke anyway. Here you go. You can have those." And that was it. They were gone. So I got through, and I don't know why they picked me. I'm a likable guy. I looking pretty normal. I wasn't, came across, but some motherfucker sat there and said, "That dude right there, get him out there. Go ahead and pull him over here."
Oh, you're not going to like this story. Wife and I go to Jamaica. Now, this is the second time in 1 year we've been. The first time, wife bought some jewelry from this gift shop. They have like a cigar shop, jewelry shop, and the souvenir shop, all in one little place. So put it this way, she bought enough jewelry to the point where the owner said, "The next time you come out here, here's my personal phone number," and we friended each other on Facebook. "Call me. I will come pick you up from the resort and bring you here."
Wow.
So,
now you've spent some money at the jewelry store. You kidding?
So, this is what we affectionately called Operation Cuban Liberation. I called up. We got there December of, 16? I think, 16 or 17. Give my friend a call. He comes in his BMW, plops us in there. We drive about 35 minutes down the road to the gift shop. Wife goes poking at jewelry. He takes me to the cigar portion.
Ooh.
Cubans as far as the eye can see. Real Cubans, by the way.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I need this. And of course, I had a list of Greg wanted some Cohiba Lanceros, a couple other people.
So you had a shopping list for your friends.
Oh, yeah. So by the time I was done, I spent about $8,500 to $9,000 in cigars. I had so many cigars. I had boxes. Then we go over. Wife bought a little bit more jewelry. Then we go over to the other side. Oh, that's a pretty Cuban rum bottle and a Jamaican rum bottle. We need this too. We had so much shit. It's like, we need another bag. So we bought a suitcase from them.
I hope you got a suitcase that had a big sticker that said contraband right on it.
It should have. So when we're ready to leave, we put all this in this motherfucker. We get over to Jamaica, and I'm over at duty free, and I said, "Oh shit, I forgot to buy a couple small bottles of rum for a couple of friends of mine at work." So I go ahead and do that. Then there's a cigar place in the freaking duty free.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. For cigar people out there, they know this. Partagas Series D number 4. Oh, yeah, I got to have my box of those. So, get onto the plane. I get to the port of entry in Atlanta. Get the luggage, push it through. We go to the big guy with the machine gun and the badge. And on the declaration on the way to Atlanta, it's like, what do you have? Of course, we're smart enough to wear the jewelry that we purchased. Souvenirs and trinkets. The end.
Souvenirs and trinkets. Okay.
Yeah. So the guy looks out. I had the box with me. I had that one box I bought from duty free. He says, "Oh, what do you have there?" I said, "Oh, I just got a box of cigars." He's like, "Oh, okay." Marches me through. Check the contraband in through. Then I have the 2 bottles of liquor with me because for some dumb reason, I didn't put them in the checked baggage. I go through X-ray, and these are just 2 little bottles of rum.
You had them in your pockets or something?
No, they were just in a bag.
Okay,
now,
all right.
When you travel abroad and you do duty free, what they do is they'll put it in a tamper-proof seal so you can't open it.
Yeah.
And it has the tag on it. This did not. For some reason, they didn't do that. I don't know if they expected me to drink it in the airport. I don't know.
Maybe somebody new was working the counter that day. Who
Exactly.
knows? All right.
So the person says, "Oh, well, we can't let you through with these." It's like, I bought them in Mobay. And he's like, "Yeah, but they didn't put it in a tamper-proof seal. So unfortunately, if you can go back and check it in your bags, that's fine, but you can't bring it through." I was pissed off for 20 minutes until my wife reminded me, do you know how much shit you just got into the country?
You're going to fuck up the whole gig over 2 bottles.
Yeah. And I just thought to myself, did a Tony Soprano. Cost of doing business.
That's right. Yeah.
I got into the country with probably $10,000 of contraband, and I'm bitching about 2 bottles.
Did you hear that copy? Did you get that? Black helicopters on their way? No, come down. No, statutes of limitations is not wore out. No, I got him right here in the studio. Yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
You don't have the evidence, though.
You admitted it on tape. It doesn't matter.
I could just be telling a funny story.
you could be. Tongue in cheek.
Yes.
I got did I ever tell you I've told this on the air a couple times. I told the story 3 times. I tell you what happened when we were in Mexico with the Black Pearl.
No.
Black Pearl from Pirates of the Caribbean, the ship. They had, I guess, someone told me they made 6 of them. They built 6 Black Pearls, and they use them for different things. And we got down to Mexico, and there was the big cruise ship docks, and there's a private marina, pretty new at the time, private marina.
Okay.
Off to one side, poor people over here, private marina, rich people stuff over here.
Oh yeah.
And the Black Pearl was there. I mean, everyone saw it. Everyone getting off the boat like, oh my God, it's a Black Pearl. It's huge. And but the problem was that this whole marina had one walkway that went to it, and at the beginning of the walkway was a guard shack, and there was dudes in there. So you had 2,000 people leave the cruise liner and walk down this road into town, and as you're walking down this road, you're passing a guard shack and a path that went to the marina.
Okay.
So everyone tried to go, and there was like 5 guards in there. There's one old crusty guy, and then there was some other, and they weren't letting anybody. Like, no, private marina, and they barely spoke any English, but no. So we get there, and like, I want to say 700 or 800 people had tried this before us. And my wife says, well, you can't, you're not going to get down. I said, well, let me go talk to these guys for a minute.
Yeah.
So I sit, and I'm not angry. I'm just bullshitting with them. And finally, not the super old guy, the senior guy that had his feet up on the counter and his hat down. One of the more senior guys, still a young guy, he said, Harbor Master. And I said, he says, the Harbor Master is right over there. You go see the Harbor Master. He says, okay, you can go. Because I just kept talking. He's like, okay, just go check with the Harbor Master. So I walked down there, and you get to the end of this path, and now here's the whole marina. The Black Pearl is to my left, quite a ways. To my right is the Harbor Master's building. It's clearly marked.
Right.
So I walk over to it with my wife, and I'm rattling. The doors are locked, 2 glass doors, and you can't get in. There's nobody. I'm banging on the door. So I come back from the Harbor Master, and I'm walking down, and I should turn left and go back down to the guard shack.
Right.
I keep walking right past it towards the Black Pearl.
Okay.
And the dudes in the guard shack all come out, and they're looking, because this pathway is probably, I don't know, 75 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm waving, going, it's all right. It's good. They say we're good. We're fine. It's okay. We can just go. I check with them. I'm giving them all the motions and go, no, we're fine. I keep walking. So we get up to, and I walk around so I can get right to the Black Pearl. I got pictures of me there. I'm touching the thing. I'm having the time of my life. Now, about 100 yards past the marina is a big chain link fence where 1,000 people from the boat were taking pictures through the fence because that's as close as they could get.
Right.
Now they're taking pictures, 1,000 people taking pictures of me in front of the boat, and I'm living it up. All of a sudden, sirens start blaring. There's the red light starts going off on the Harbor Master thing, and my wife is in panic mode.
Oh, shit.
Because they're running from that guard shack now. There's a dude way down here coming on a little ATV, tearing through the dirt, and I'm just sitting here taking pictures, and my wife is clutching my arm going, oh my God, they caught you. It's like, relax, it's going to be fine. So they swarm us, and they are fucking pissed.
Oh.
But they're all only this tall. So
yeah, so what can they do to me?
Yeah, what are you going to do? And so I said, I told my wife, I said, I've been waiting to say this for years, growing up in L.A.
Yeah.
I said, no habla español, dudes. I don't know what the hell you're screaming about. I can't understand you at all. So they start dragging us back to the guard shack. And she goes, you're going to call my dad and let him know I'm in a Mexican jail. You're calling him. I'm not calling him. I said, it's going to be fine. Relax. And she goes, it's going to be fine. Do you know what they're going to do to me in that Mexican jail? I go, nothing you haven't done before. Big deal. She lost her fucking mind. when I said that, she absolutely every word that a sailor could say came out of her mouth, and she was thinking, "I'm divorcing you the minute I find an attorney. I'm done." So they're dragging us back, and I said, "Give me your ID." So I take my ID out of my wallet, and I take hers, and I folded up a $20 bill and put it between the two, and get up there. And now the old guy got out of his chair and straightened his hat and straightened his belt, and he goes, "Identification." And so I hand it to him like this, and he looks at it, looks at hers, looks at mine, takes a $20 bill, stuffs it in his pocket, keeps looking. He goes, "All right, you can go." So we go to leave, and she starts sprinting towards the boat. I grabbed her. I go, "Don't run, just walk." And she goes, "Okay, first of all, what just happened?" I go, "Do you think this guy wants to even write a report because we were looking at a boat?"
Right.
He didn't care. He didn't give a shit at all. We weren't stealing nothing. He's just like, "This $20 more than that guy makes in 4 days." And he just, all he had to do was go, "$20, get out of here." He didn't care, stupid American. She goes, "But the cops were coming," because you could hear sirens. She goes, "The cops were coming." Well, that would have been a $100 bill.
Yeah.
So she's absolutely still in tears. We get back to the boat, and we get back to the ship, and everyone's now gathered around because everybody saw. Everybody came right. Said, "Oh my God, what happened?" Now she's got this attitude. "Well, my husband had it under control the whole time. I wasn't worried at all. My husband says he got something figured out. There's 5 of them, but you ever see my old man in a scrap? These little bitty kids here." I mean, she just was going off like, I'm like, 5 minutes ago you were screaming, "Call my daddy."
Right. Now it's my hero.
Yeah. And she had the voice of confidence on there. So that was that was the same trip with the cigars. But yeah, she hadn't left the country with me again.
Yeah, my wife looked at me when we were pushing this contraband through. It's like, well, what if they said the worst that's going to happen is if they're going to take it or make me pay duty for it? But they care about dope and guns. They don't care about my stupid cigars.
No,
you just walk through naturally.
They'll make their money on it, but that's it. They don't,
Yeah.
It's not cocaine. Who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Hey, so I'm going to bring up a picture up here. The folks at home can't see, but there's a monitor, a live monitor up there, and that's the picture we're going to run. Just so you know,
I like it
with for the podcast. But I got a couple pictures here. Let's see if I can figure this. Okay, so you have 2 co-hosts on your show.
Yes.
Beyond the Humidor. All right, bring up one. Who is the first picture here? Okay, now I was a guest on your show one time.
Yes.
I want to point out at this moment that other than when you guys were talking about this company, this Placentia, you got one 11-minute video where you and this guy are sitting on the balcony flapping your gums. Other than that one, the one that I was on is your second highest rated video by views.
Yes.
I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just pointing out some obvious.
You were the man. I'll be the first to tell you were the man. It was like you did not disappoint. I knew that would happen. I was just like,
well, thank you. It was a lot of fun, but
yes.
I gotta I'm trying to raise my street cred right now.
Hell yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Who is this guy?
Okay, Greg Perry, buddy of mine. I like to call him my green grocer. He works for a supermarket as a bookkeeper. I can't name which one, but we met at the shop. Actually, we met at Tobacco Republic, and we started hanging out together. And when we first formed the Loomis Cigar Cartel, we were in Vegas for Cigar Aficionado's Big Smoke. Every year they do a big smoke in about 4 or 5 different cities. This one in particular was Las Vegas. So what we did, we had a group of us go down there, and we got these shirts custom. Larry owns Paradise Signs over in Newcastle, and he made some some cigar shirts for us. So we were all matching, of course.
Right.
And we're going through it and talking to folks. And this is thanks to one of the cigar guys, one of the manufacturers, Oscar Valadares.
Yeah.
He came up to us. We were sitting back at a table. He said, "Dude, I love those shirts. We got to get a picture together."
Is that the one that's in the picture right now? The picture that was up there?
Oh, no.
Not that shirt.
Not that shirt.
Okay, because that's a cool looking shirt too.
Yeah, that's just one I happened to buy online, and then we had Larry's embroider that on there. But Oscar, he owns Oscar Valadares, and he was like, "You guys got to do something with this." Now, Greg, in his wisdom, he drove from let's just say Sacramento because no one's going to know where the hell Orangevale is. He drove from Sacramento to Vegas with a couple of friends of ours.
Look at, she's coming in with a bigger glass and she's going to pour some more hooch. Now, that is an awesome wife. She ain't letting us go thirsty.
There you go.
Come on now. Give daddy some hooch. I can't. You keep raising the glass and I keep, you raise your glass and I keep going, well, mine's empty. All right. Let her pour and then you can finish your story.
Okie dokie. So,
you ain't got nothing wrong with a woman pouring you a drink, do you?
I absolutely do
All
not.
right then. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. So,
okay.
He drives back. One of our buddies, Lewis, we were in an Uber because we were waiting for our plane because we had sense.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the shirts and said, dude, we got to do something with this. We can let this die or we can do something. It's like, so we formed the Loomis Cigar Cartel and we got the three of us, Greg, Lewis and I, we got together and we were talking about how it was going to work. At first, it was just going to be a club. Then we started going through bylaws and all that shit. And it's like, I don't want to deal with a club. I've been a part of clubs before.
Yeah,
this is going to be a pain in my ass.
There's a lot of bylaw rules you got to go by how often you meet, what you write down for minutes and keeping records. Like, Jesus Christ, man, I just want to hang out with my friends.
Yeah, it's like I've got a job already. So then we came up with, let's do a podcast. So we started just checking out some podcasts on YouTube. And one of the things we found that I am not dogging any podcast out there.
Yeah.
Hey, you do what you do, go with God.
Yeah.
You know, groovy. But a lot of some of the podcasts I watched and listened to, they were all, not all, I shouldn't say that. Some were just talking above your head. It was that same thing. It's like, well, you know, the taste of the cigar, it reminds you of.
So you went and looked
pizza.
at cigar podcasts.
Yes.
Okay.
And they sit there and it was like, some were just kind of like trying to sound overly knowledgeable. Is intimidating almost. It's like if you're a new cigar smoker, you'll
like,
sit there
okay,
and be
for
like,
a guy like me, I would not watch a podcast like that because I wouldn't get the context of the references, but I'd watch yours because I get it. I get what you guys, you bring it down to street level when you talk about stuff and you joke about all sorts of things. You guys talk about each other. So your podcast blends in somebody who is either knows nothing about cigars or is mildly attracted to cigars and trying to figure stuff out, and you keep the interest the whole time.
Yes.
It's where it works perfectly. I wish more people would give your podcast a chance because, like you, I've observed a ton of them. And some of this, like, how do these guys get 10,000 people watching this? This is the most stupid shit I've ever seen in my life. And, you know, then guys like you and me are struggling to get listeners.
Right.
And those fuckers are like, how do you fucking do that? And then I'll watch a podcast to give it a new shot at something.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching 2 minutes in, 3 minutes in going, I'm changing the channel. This fucker's stupid. And he goes, today's show is sponsored by... Like, how the fuck did you get a sponsor?
Yeah.
Who sponsored your shit? You talking out your ass. You don't know what you're doing. And you're boring and you're ugly. I mean, I know not everybody can have a beard like this. I'm not saying they can. But I'm just saying, you got a sponsor? This is to all the assholes that are getting sponsored. You and I ain't getting shit.
Amen.
Fuck those guys.
There was one particular podcast, and I'm not going to name names. I was on YouTube. The dudes look like the Menendez brothers sitting by a fucking pool. And I'm like, they just fucking off their mom and dad. I just fucking know it.
Hold on. For everyone who doesn't know who the Menendez brothers are, leave this live stream, leave this podcast. Don't hang out. You're in you tuned into the wrong place, okay? You're too young. We ain't stopping while you go Google who the Menendez brothers. Now, everybody who does know, that was a funny reference. For all of us of this age group, all Generation X, that was some funny shit. All the rest of you, they're scratching your heads and I know what's going on. Just leave. Exit stage left. Go now. All right.
I'm going to go off topic real quick, or I'm going to do a tangent here. Did you know that down in Southern California, the DA was complaining about how much the trial was? So two talk radio DJs, they did a sale called Fry the Menendez sale.
What? Wait a second.
It was a garage sale, basically, where you take something over to their location and you can sell it, and the money was going to go to the district attorney to help them fry the Menendez brothers.
Okay, that's where I was going with this. I was going to say, what is the point of if the district attorney says it's costing too much, how do you fix that? You can't raise taxes on people? I didn't know where you were going with that, but I get it now. I had no idea that was the thing, and I was down there then.
Yeah.
Wow.
I laughed my ass
I will
off.
say I did not participate in that.
I did not either. I'm like, you guys get enough money from me, although I was in Orange County, so you probably didn't.
Yeah, well, you probably bought gas in LA. There's a
Yeah,
gas
that's
tax here,
true.
so you're okay.
Yeah.
So let me get up another picture up here. We
Okay.
talked about the first guy you said was Greg.
Yeah, that's Greg.
All right, now let me put up the cool cat in here. The other guys, another guy I want to show you in here. I got this picture. I tried to keep him as nice as I could.
All right. That crazy fool right there. Your spirit animal. My
He's
spirit
funny.
animal.
He's funny.
That is Larry Marlotte. He's the owner of Paradise Signs and Graphics over in Newcastle. And when we revamped the show around episode 21, 22, Greg and I were on it, and we wanted Larry to come on to it because he was there at the beginning inception as well. And we kind of broke it off just because it was kind of like too many personalities, and it was getting to a point where we were worried about it was going to affect friendships.
Yeah.
So we decided to walk away for a while. And then Greg came back to me and just said, I want to start it up again. And he's,
Wait, so your podcast, you changed it up? He wasn't on there for a while or something?
well, he was on there occasionally because he's
Okay.
running a business, so he was occasionally on the show. But if you listen to the earlier renditions, we had probably 5-6 people on at one time, and it
See, I
was just
didn't know
talking
that.
we were just talking over each other. We were in our infancy,
Right.
and we were struggling to get through. We all had big personalities trying to work things through, and it got to a point where it wasn't fun anymore. So it was around COVID, and we walked away from it for a few months. Greg brought it back. Other people went their way. They did other projects, and Greg brought me back and asked if I would come back and do it. And I was like, I'll do it, but I've got some conditions as far as how's it going to be. And I'm not talking about I want my mineral water
Right.
and shit. I was just
Yeah.
like, I want this to be fun again.
Right.
I want it to be kick back, relax. When it stops being fun, I walk away. I already have a job.
Yep.
So we did just that, and it started, flowing pretty smoothly. It's like, we got to get Larry back. So I talked to Larry, and Greg talked to Larry, and it's just like, because he tells some of the craziest ass stories.
I'm telling you, each of you has your own personality on the
Yes.
show. Each of you has your own role. I've kind of, from the podcast that I've listened to, plus the one I was on with you guys as a guest, you kind of figure out real quick, who's, you take a lot of the dry humor. You're the straight guy on a lot of it.
Yeah.
On a lot of it you are. And Larry, the one who he rolls around with stuff all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And the other dude, the bald-headed white guy on the end, who I'm going to call your token white guy, he doesn't contribute as much, but when he does, it's usually he's got a strong point he's trying to talk
yeah.
about. And he gets right to it.
Yes.
So there's a balance there,
Yeah, and-
I thought for sure. I want to show you another picture. Bring up
Okay.
that one of them at their microphones. Okay. So this is every scene of you guys is like this.
Yeah.
Now, I remember being on your show going, are you guys in a 1932 garage? This looks like an old service station from the 30s. That's what it looked like. I never even noticed you put up a whiteboard over there. You're obviously hiding something over there.
No, that's just stuff for signs, to be perfectly honest. It's in Larry's sign
Why
shop.
don't you move it so the background looks uniform? I thought for sure they would not put up a big white chunk of something there for no reason in the background. It's got to be hiding something. It's a poster or something you don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know. Originally, we were doing it at Tobacco Republic, and then they did a remodel, and they basically switched the rooms because it was 2 rooms. One was the humidor, the other was the lounge. So they flipped them in order to get more space. So where the lounge is now, the acoustics are kind of off, so everything just bounces because they need to put more stuff in the room, and
Right.
then the furniture is not conducive to it at this point. So we were like, okay, well, while they were remodeling, we moved it over to Larry's shop.
Okay, so I'll put that picture back up, kid. Let's show that again. I want to show you that. So the other thing I noticed is when you wear your dark glasses, you remind me of Shaft. You one cold motherfucker with that. When you wear your other glasses, you look like John Sally from basketball. You have 2 different personalities by the glasses you wear. I'm telling you, just look. I'm a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert, and I'm just telling you. And then in most of them, you're wearing the dark glasses. Now, I thought when I first saw you, and not in person, when I first saw
Right.
I was checking out your shit, looking at your stuff, and I thought, that motherfucker puts himself in the center, and he's higher than everybody else. That's going to be an ego thing. I didn't realize you're just a big dude.
Yeah.
you're like 6'9". I went, okay, never mind. That's why when I first met you, we went to that
Yeah.
restaurant. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take back everything I said because
Right?
ain't none of it right, not even a little bit. And Larry is always sulking down in that chair, like he looks like he shows up drunk. He's sunk in the chair, halfway down the chair, and he's like this, and he looks up at you, and he's spot on. But he looks like he's been drinking for 4 or 5 hours as he's slipping down that chair. And the dude on the other side, Greg, is always alert. You know, he's always he knows what's going on. He's like, what do you guys say? What are you doing? So the dynamic you guys got is so great.
Thanks.
I wish there was a way to get more people to check out your stuff, especially cigar people that want a casual conversation. They're not looking for that intricate, well, these leaves are heat pressed and wrapped 35 times in a left-handed direction south of the equator. None of that shit. Just talk about what it is. That's
That's what we have fun with. Larry, he's fresh off work when we start recording. He's just sitting there like, I hate people.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
Pour me a drink and shut up.
Then he has his son across the way giving him shit.
Okay, who's the guy who fucked up the recording that day?
No, I fucked that up. That
you
was
did.
my fault. Yeah.
Well, I still want to know who to blame.
Yeah. No, it's me. No. I've said that a million times. I even said it on YouTube. I said, no, this is on me. I fucked that up. The gorilla got the audio right. Oh, we also, and you don't have a picture of gorilla yet. We plan to get Gorilla Cam.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
That is Larry's oldest son, Anthony. And he came aboard probably about 15 or so episodes ago because he was watching it and he said, you know what? I can relieve you guys of a lot of the pressure you're on because Greg was running the board and the camera. So he's like not contributing quite as much.
Right.
And then Anthony was like, hey, you know what? Let me kind of take this off. I'll sit over here and I can control everything from here. So we first gave him the designator camera monkey. But then after about 3 episodes, it's like, you're a badass. You've been promoted to gorilla.
Right on. I'm glad you promote from within because
Yes.
so many places don't.
Absolutely.
You get a little gratitude there. Now he ain't getting no more pay.
No.
But the status is what's important around here.
He's got to talk to his union representative, which is his father. His father's like, you can go fuck straight off.
Well, good. It's we talk to our kids the same way.
Yeah.
My kid, he has his technical knowledge is incredible in what he can do.
Yeah.
But getting him to do it is an entirely another thing. It's like, well, what you do is this, and you got to rotate this and switch this and drag this and cut that. Okay, so can you do that? It's like, yeah, I guess I can try to do that. Then he regrets telling me. Now he's like, no, I don't know how to do that. He just come clean and say, nope, can't do it. And I don't know what's going on. Have a nice day. Grabs his hat and his coat and he's out the goddamn door. So,
The worst is when I'm gone because then he calls me. So how did I do that thing you were talking about? So I have to walk him through step by step how to go through it. And he's like, it's not working. I was like, did you do this? He's like, you didn't tell me to do that. I'm like, I literally told you to do that. That was like the first step.
I like the ones where I probably know 90% of it, but the 10% fucks everything up if you don't get it. You got to know the whole thing.
Right.
So when I come through there and I'll say something like, hey, you told me to do this and I can't find that. And it's like, he goes, did you click the right button? It's not on the screen. I go, there's no 1A start 0 button. I go, where do I click that? He goes, it's the button labeled 1A start 0. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. It's those moments I feel dumb. The other ones, not so much, but like that, yeah, I feel pretty stupid.
Yeah, like the social media stuff, I get lost on, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm Gen X. We started this shit.
Yeah.
Now it's gotten to the point where it's just like, oh, you got TikTok, you got this. I don't feel like learning any more of this crap.
Well, I try to explain. People have asked me about how much time we spend doing social media, and for free. It doesn't earn you anything, but sometimes it increases your viewership because of your pages.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, sometime last year, we got 3 years under our belt now of this. And sometime last year we sat down, my wife and I did, and I was putting in a solid 7 to 8 hours every day doing stuff that needed to get done in here. And then we were going live 8 or 9 times a week.
Oh.
Because we would do some shows we would do in the morning and then one at night, so we doubled up.
Yeah.
And she was putting in 4 to 5 hours a day easy. And this is back when the kid was in school, so he can only put in when he was home. But you're not getting a paycheck out of that. You're not making, people that, you're probably making $20,000 a month. Yeah, fuck, we're not.
No,
trust me,
you're not.
You do get some residuals from Facebook. You do get some from YouTube, and really, what you have to do, what I have to do, we have to do here at Gen X Talks is we have 30 revenue sources that all make $10, because you get a little bit from your podcast, you get a little bit from over here and a little bit from over there. You try to, but then it's a lot of work keeping all those up.
Oh, absolutely.
So the story I got when I try to explain it to people, I said, it's not as easy as you think. And this is coming back to what you and I were just talking about, the technical part.
Yeah.
When a car was invented, the big news was everyone's going to know how to work on a car. Everyone's going to own a car. Everyone's going to understand everything about a car. And because it's so simple, you get it, you can do it. And once everybody's got one, you know what it did? It generated a bunch of people that know how to put gas in a car and turn a key.
Yep.
When computers came along, everyone's going to be computer savvy. Everyone's going to understand computers, especially in the beginning when they were breaking all the time.
Right.
And you know what it did? It made people who knew how to push a button for the power and move a mouse. That's what it did. Well, in social media, everyone says, anybody can do social media because the cameras are now built into computers and you point and click and go. It didn't turn out that way. It kind of went the way of everything else. There's so much to do to make something work. Like all the gear I got in front of me, this is a Stream Deck, which allows me to punch up all the different scenes that we want.
Right.
This is a camera fader where we've got all the cameras up around here, and I can switch between cameras and fade them in and out. Mm-hmm. And then over here, I've got all the controls on the mics where I'm watching volumes. Here's my sheets, my notes when people are writing in. My wife copies and pastes what they're saying, the important ones, and puts them in here. So I'm constantly going. Man. It's not, you cannot just start a car and now you know about cars. You can't just push a button on a computer and know a bunch about computers. And you cannot just look into a camera and all of a sudden you know everything there is to know about social media.
Exactly.
It's very, and I probably know 1/10 of what I'm supposed to know. I know just enough to do what I need to do. There's so much more out there in social media.
It's a big, giant world. I remember when my first wife, she went, and I don't know why she did this, she decided to adopt a kid. So this little boy now about maybe 16, and he calls me dad because she kept my last name because the girls had my last name. So when she adopted him, gave him my last name. So he knows me as dad.
Yeah.
So one day he calls me and I'm like, so what's going on? He said, well, can I ask you something? I said, of course you can. He says, can I come live with you?
How old was he at this time?
He was 15, 16.
Yeah, right about the age.
Exactly. Because, it was just his mom and my oldest stays there too. So I'm just like, okay, so let me ask you, why do you want to come live with me? I just want to know. Well, things aren't going well. I'm not doing well in school, and I think I need a change of scenery. I said, well, let me tell you something. Change of scenery is not going to fix things, and you might want to talk to your two sisters about living with dad, because if you think it's going to be easy, the fuck it is, because my girls will explain to you. I expect things done. You will do chores. You will go to school. Those are your jobs.
Yeah.
Then I asked him. I said, okay. He says, well, I only do well in this class and gym. I said, okay, so tell me something, son. What do you want to do with your life? And he tells me, oh, this generation. I want to be a YouTuber. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah, you just want to pull your hair out and go, that's not a fucking real job, man.
Yeah, so I told him, I said, okay, you want to be a YouTuber, okay. So what are you going to do? Oh, I don't know. I say, you don't even know what you want to do as a YouTuber. I'm a YouTuber. I make no money. You know where my money comes from? My job. I do this for fun.
You got to have a job.
Yeah, you've got to have 1 million subscribers. Do you have an idea? He's like, well, no, but I was like, you don't have an idea. You don't have this. You need to go to school. You need to get your lessons on. You don't need to move anywhere. You just need to deal with what you have.
Everybody who wants to be, everyone talks to us and says, well, how, can we become YouTube famous? And I said, look, do whatever you're doing in life and do this on the side.
Yeah.
If it becomes big enough to where you can't do, your job over here and this, then you can think about moving over.
Right.
But you don't just jump over here and hope that this turns into something. You got to nurture it. You got to work at it for years. And if it turns out to be something great, then you can say, well, I am making some money over here. I'd like to split my time or reduce this time or jump ship. Fine. But you never just walk into say, okay, let's set up this room and I'm going to be YouTube famous tomorrow. No way. And even people, there's kids that do that. They'll get a viral video.
Yeah.
Or they'll start a trend. Fine. The kid has a video on TikTok. It's got 26 million views, which is a gigantic fucking home run. And I think it made him $200. How far does that
didn't
take
get paid for it.
What's that?
I didn't get any money from it
You didn't get money for that one?
because we had the suspension on our creator fund. Remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We don't need to talk about why.
You did that. You would think with my mouth I would get us suspended on TikTok. He did. He got us suspended on TikTok. They pulled the plug for a week, and I'm like, what the hell? Tell him what you did.
Okay.
Tell him what you did.
We were on a live stream.
Okay.
Right? And someone asked him, what's your opinion on the LGBTQ plus community? Already, I'm trying to lighten the mood. We're gonna try and dodge.
Because I'd never heard what it say plus at the end. I knew what LGBTQ was, of course, but I didn't know. So I turned to him. We're doing a live broadcast, and I said, I don't understand what that is. What's LGBTQ?
My first instinct is dodge the question. Just get out of it, get out of the way.
Eject.
So I go to make a joke, and I say, it's like LGBTQ, but it's like gay premium.
It's like gay premium gas.
LGBTQ plus.
And within 30 seconds, the stream was pulled, and I went, what happened? How come we lost this up?
That goes back to what Larry and I talk about. We talk about this on the show, too. What the fuck happened to humor? That joke right there was not mean-spirited. It wasn't
funny.
You're not saying all
He
queers
told
gotta
that to
die.
his.
You're just
he
saying,
told that
hey,
to his gay friends. They all laughed. Everyone goes, "That was
exactly.
funny."
That's the problem. It's like most people will laugh at that kind of stuff, but you've got this minority who is determined to be offended about shit. I mean, between Larry and I mean, and this is a testament of true friendship. We will sit there and say horrible things. I mean, things that would make a PC person blush.
Yeah.
But he's a friend of mine, and we are tight. Our wives, they get together, and it's like that basically broke my rule about my friends. Okay, let's have the wives get together, because you know what happens? The two women fight, then we can't go play anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
Comedy is the last stronghold, and they still attack it. But there are people that go, no, it's comedy, it's jokes. And there's 10,000 comics that push the envelope every night, and they don't care. It's comedy, dude. We're making fun, racial jokes, racial humor.
Yes.
Minority humor. We don't care. It's just jokes. Relax.
Yeah.
Everyone gets made fun of.
Yes.
And the comics are really, in my opinion, the last stand. They're the last area that they haven't squashed it, that the political correctness hasn't been able to squash. They've tried.
Yeah,
they sanctioned. They hit Chappelle pretty hard.
Yeah,
they did Joe Rogan a couple times. But they haven't been able to squash it. It's still there, and people are still doing it.
Yeah, but you're right. They are trying hard, but there's a lot of comics that used to do college campuses. They won't touch them anymore.
Well, no, there's areas they can't. There's they won't. There's a lot of people that won't even go to the college campuses for speech anymore either.
Right.
They just won't do it. But I will tell you this. I think that I have a pretty good finger on the pulse, so to speak. I think the pendulum is swinging back the other way.
I think you're right
on this. It's less even right now. We just said that LGBTQ plus joke right here. We were narrating it. 2 years ago, if I had posted that somewhere, it would have got pulled.
Yeah,
it won't today. They'll be like, he's just telling a joke, and he's referencing something. They won't even care. It'll blow right over. But because the pendulum is swinging back the other way, it wasn't like that before, but it is more like that now. And it's not. The other thing I've noticed is there. I want to say, if I had to put a guess on it, 97% of gay people, 97% of LGBTQ community hate the woke movement.
Yeah.
They're out there going, God, we just want to just treat us like everybody else. Well, we can't because you have the woke. I'm not part of that. I don't believe in that. I wish they'd shut the fuck up.
Oh, yeah.
I've had people tell me that. I said, I'm gay, and I promise you, I'm not aligning myself with those idiots.
Yeah.
Because the problem is that it's one thing to say, whatever your minority situation or whatever your sexuality is, it doesn't matter. It's one thing to say, I want to be accepted. Fine. But it's quite another thing to say, I want to be accepted and I want to be put to the front of the line.
Yeah.
I want special treatment.
Exactly.
Now that's where you get me. I don't really you can't force me to let you to the front of the line because you're special. I'm not going to call you special name. I'm not doing it. If you want to be accepted as a regular person, fine. Just we're all regular people doing regular things. You, me, them. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're black or white or you're gay or trans. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. We're all regular people doing regular shit. Until you want special treatment.
Yeah.
Now I'm not okay with that.
I used to tell people when, we go through this, I'd say, look, I'm going to make this really easy for you. I go by the golden rule. It's worked for thousands of years. Treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Simple as that. There's nothing complicated in that. How do you want to be treated? If you want to be done right by, then you do right by other people. That's it. There's no special names. There's no. I do this or that. It's just basically courteous and polite. Be decent.
Yep.
Don't be an ass. Don't be a douche canoe.
Right.
And move on with your life.
He sounds just like me. I said that exact same thing all the time.
I touched on something the other day that kind of caught fire. I was talking about all the movements of today, and all of the, and it goes back to Black Lives Matter and Antifa and up to now the woke. But I said, I go, for those of you listening or watching that are a little younger, you're not going to understand this. So I'm going to explain it to you because I was there. By the time the 90s came around, nobody cared anymore. In the 90s, I know you're always going to have incidents of racism and segregation. You're going to have pockets. When you find where there's, you fucking go squash it and you kill the dudes and get them the fuck out of there. But it was kind of gone. I remember in the 90s, nobody cared if you were gay or you were black. It wasn't like, ooh, that's the gay guy over there. Nobody cared.
Right.
Everybody had finally gone, all right, fuck it. Everybody just get along. Nobody cares what you're doing. And somehow, from the 90s to today, you guys have created the worst division I've ever seen. Don't say you're out there fixing it, because I will tell you, I lived in this country in the 90s. It was way better then.
Yeah.
It was better then. You have fucked it up to whatever you've done now with division of Republicans and Democrats and blacks and whites. And in whatever divisions you caused, you did this.
Yeah.
And all under the heading, I'm just speaking about it to make you aware. No, you're bringing it up and you're causing a problem. You've done it for so long now. Things are worse than they were in the 90s. You haven't fixed anything.
Okay. We are both Gen Xers, so you will remember this. Mid to late 80s, even before that, you had the talk shows, Donahue, Geraldo, and all of them.
Yeah.
Remember every now and then you get the likes of Metzger, that crazy nut, and a couple other people. They'd be on the show. You have some of them in full Klan regalia. You'd have skinheads.
Yeah.
And people didn't get their feelings hurt. They were shouted down, and they were basically told, it's like, you're a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Don't get around it. You can say, they sit there and say, well, we just want to do this, this, and this, and there's going to be a race war. And people would get up and say, you're full of crap.
Yeah.
And nobody was just like all triggered. They were like, oh my God, I can't watch this. They were just like, you're a piece of shit.
No, and you watched the audience that had blacks and whites and Mexicans, and they'd all stand up and go, you fuckers need to get off the stage.
Right.
None of us agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. I was 100% with that.
Now something as easy as just a person of conscience saying, I don't think you're right. Then it's all of a sudden you're a Nazi, you're a racist.
Oh, you're everything. I get into so many arguments where they say, you're a racist, and I go, I don't care that you say that. You don't care that I called you a racist? I go, the word has no meaning anymore.
Right.
You told me I was racist by how I was eating my Cheerios one day. You told me I was racist by which way I was looking out my window. Who cares anymore? You've ruined the word racist. It has. When I was a kid, if someone called you racist, that was shocking.
Oh, yeah.
Now you've ruined it. You've ruined the word. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. You've taken away because you used it for everything that you can see.
Exactly.
Everything you look at, you guys can twist anything. You could take this blue container, and if you think about it long enough, you can find a way to prove to me that this blue container is racist by who made it, where it's built, the insignia on. You'll do something.
No. It is representative of white privilege.
Yes, it is. Because the poor black man couldn't have a blue container, so I have white privilege. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
For God's sakes.
Yeah, exactly.
The idea was, the argument was that I touched on was, you can't tell me you're making things better. I can prove to you you've only made it worse.
Exactly.
And that was the thing. It irritates the shit out of me when people come at me and say, Morgan Freeman said it the best.
I was just about to say.
Morgan Freeman said, you want to stop racism, quit talking about it.
Exactly.
Quit bringing it up. It's all you do. Well, I got into an argument live one time with a guy on a broadcast, and he goes, you have to talk about racism. I'm just talking about it to make people aware. I go, really? So there's actually people that don't know about racism? There's somebody left on the planet that's never heard the word? There's somebody out there that's going to go, oh my God, what is this racism you're speaking about? Everybody already fucking knows. Everybody knows. Shut up. You're not doing. You say you're doing it to educate people, to make people aware. Everybody fucking knows. Shut up. You can't say that.
It's a method of. It's kind of like putting themselves in a position of moral superiority.
Yeah,
I'm better than you because I'm not racist. I accept everyone, and they're the worst ones.
I like telling people, like, well, you should go tell people about breathing. People may not know to breathe.
Yeah.
You better make people aware. Breathing is important, and just walk around, and you may find someone who didn't know they were supposed to breathe. You never know.
Yeah.
Could be sitting there holding their breath because God knows that's important. How do we get off on this fucking topic?
I don't know.
Where did we go? Let's drink and start.
Let's
drink and start over again.
Yeah. Hey, the solution's at the bottom of the glass.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he said the thing. He said the thing.
No, we didn't.
What did he say?
Turn your camera on.
Oh, no, he said solution.
Yeah, he said the solution.
Hey,
Does the bottom of your glass say solution? It says truth.
True.
I didn't write.
Oh dear. Okay.
Now, he's not wrong.
Track.
We can solve the mysteries of the universe after we get to the truth. We will find some solutions.
Yes.
For God's sakes. All right. Was there another picture I was going to show, or did I kind of run through my shit with him on
I
that?
think you got one more.
What's the one more? What was one more in there? Yeah. So what? I got a question. So you go from the cigar shop and you go to his printing shop, and all of a sudden I find this where it looks like you just said, fuck it, I'm doing shit from my kitchen, fuck those guys, you know what, I'm done with this shit, we're just gonna do it in my kitchen, turn the camera on and go, man, go. That's what I thought.
Okay, this was in the infancy of the podcast. Now, where Greg and I were hanging out, that is the balcony on my house.
Oh, hold on. For the people that are listening to the audio portion, I put up a picture on the screen of Scotty in his kitchen doing some sort of alcohol cigar podcast looking thing. That's the picture on the screen right now. Very, very at home, very domestic.
Yes.
You're no longer in a studio. You have been. So go ahead. Tell us how you ended up there in the kitchen.
So let me just go. Okay, I'll give some background too. But anyway, where we were at the first part of that was we were on my balcony that it sits off my office, and then I said, okay, we're going to do a clip. Now, what I was doing in that picture was making a caipirinha. It's a Brazilian drink.
Yeah.
Now, I fell in love with caipirinhas. A friend of ours who's Brazilian, she introduced me to them. And it is with this rum, and I will not pronounce it right to save my life. Chisasa, I can't pronounce it right, but it's like lime, simple syrup, chisasa, the rum. You know, all muddled together, a little ice and a little soda and lime inside, and it's a caipirinha. So, our second episode entitled Two Queens and a Pullout was when we went to Colorado the first time for a cigar event. The Rocky
I'm hoping
Mountain.
you're talking about a hotel room.
Oh, I'll get to that part. I will get there. So, we get over to the festival. It's over at the Omni in Broomfield, Colorado, and we're waiting for our room. Now, I wanted a drink. Now, I've just had this thing about caipirinhas. I've had them in Vegas over at the Fuente Lounge over in Caesars, and they make a great caipirinha. So I go over to the bartender. It's like, hey, I'd like a caipirinha. Looked at me like I asked them the square root of something. They looked confused.
Don't they have computers that tell him how to make shit now? Come on.
The guy looked at me.
You can't have a deer in the headlights look when you're a bartender and someone asks you for a drink. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
This fucking 8th grader, he looks at the speed well like it's gonna like the bottles are gonna magically levitate and tell him what to make. And I'm just like, oh, the fuck. I was like, I'll make this easy for you. Just a Jack and Coke.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't let me get around the backside of here. Move out of the way. Slide over. Just give me a minute.
So the whole 2 queens and a pullout deal. So I reserved a room a couple of months prior, and what I was looking for was, of course, 2 queen beds and a pullout couch.
Yeah.
So, okay, Mr. Robinson, we're setting up your room. So we go to the bar, and this is where this comes in. So then, okay, Mr. Robinson, the room is ready. Greg, Larry, and I go up to the room. It is 1 king bed. Oh, this will not work. This is not an episode of the Three Stooges.
I was going to just say, hey, I've seen it work on the Three Stooges. It kind of worked in Willy Wonka. They had 4 couples living in that bed, remember?
Yeah.
Come on now.
No. So I go downstairs. Greg and Larry, being the pussies that they are, I go towards the front desk. They veer off over to the business section.
They're just going to let you handle this, huh?
They're like, this is going to be ugly. So I go and I'm speaking with the person, and then I say the word, and Larry's like, oh, fuck, we're going to need to call our pal to get him bailed out. And I said, and I quote, when she said, well, I'm sorry, everything is sold. I said, this is unacceptable. In civilized speak, that's like, it's on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you can get further with correct language,
yes,
and a calm tone where you got to stare, like, you let them know this ain't gonna fly, but you don't say it that way.
Yeah, it wasn't like I was Samuel Jackson in Pulp Fiction saying, "Say what again?
Say what again?
Do they speak English in what?" So she finds us a room with 2 queens and a pullout. So that was the end of the story. But anyway, the whole Caparina thing came from the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival, because all throughout freaking Colorado, can you make a Caparina? I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what you do is you're going to have to print out a little business card with the ingredients of the thing and say, look, man, can you read? If you can read, we good.
Dude, you're a freaking ideal man. I could get Larry to make those. It's like, can you make a Caparina? Here.
As long as you can read, you're okay.
I know you have limes. I know you have simple syrup. The rum, well, you can make a Caparushka. You use vodka instead of the Brazilian rum. And you have Grand Marnier. Put a little Grand Marnier float on top. But yeah, so we decided to do a video of me creating the Caparina. So that is what that long drawn out story of.
So that's why you in your kitchen is doing something like that. Wow, you really got dedicated to that one drink.
I did.
When I scrolled through there, I told the kid, I go, look, he finally told his partners to fuck off. He finally said, look, no more white people on my program. I'm going to do it my goddamn self in my kitchen. I don't need you. You might need the gorilla, though, to help you with some stuff. That's what I thought. I know my mind wanders with that shit when I see a picture, just like, I'm telling you, all the ones of you.
I love it, though. But that shows you research with much respect that you actually pulled that through. I was like, oh, shit, yeah, there was that one. And you notice, I want you to notice something about that.
What's
my
that?
Big grape ape ass sitting there making this drink.
Yeah.
And you see how low that counter is? There's a reason why that counter is as low as it is. Not to,
Because you're like 7'4", dude.
6'5". My wife is 5'2".
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, so my third wife, who I call affectionately Tiny Wife, she's 5'2". Best thing ever.
She could help you with your belt buckle. Yes. You're right there. I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to go past it.
She was a marksman in college.
Wait, put that picture back up. I just noticed something on that. Okay. What's the dude's name? Harvey from Family Feud.
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, yes.
You look like Steve Harvey with the black mustache right there. You look like Steve Harvey. You look like
that Sans goatee? Yeah, probably
I'm just saying. I just noticed it right now.
Yeah.
The picture on the screen. You look like Steve Harvey. I'm like, Hey, look, hey, Scotty, Steve Harvey's in your kitchen. He's making a drink.
The worst thing I ever did, according to Tiny Wife, was one day I said, okay, and this is a running joke on the podcast too. I decided, okay, I'm shaving all. I was like, I had a beard at the time, so I decided I had to go tea, and I shaved everything off because I was going to go full beard, which I did. So in 19, right after I got my black belt and we went on a cruise, I said, okay, I am going to grow a full beard again. And we had a big New Year's blowout for 1920. And I remember thinking to myself,
For 1920, you weren't alive in 1920.
2020, Jesus Christ.
You
what is
said
wrong with me?
1920. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we can stretch some stories here, but
2019
but people,
2020.
people are not going to drink enough to believe that you were around in 1920. I'm sorry.
You know, you would be right. I look youthful, but I'm not that youthful.
Sorry. All right.
So I'm thinking 2020 is going to be awesome. So the big joke is like, you fucked us up in 2020 when you grew that beard. It's kind of like the equivalent of the Cursed Tiki and the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
All I could hear is that fucking song. Do-do-do-do.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was my freaking fault. I'm like old lady. What was her name? The cow that kicked the lantern over and caused the Great
Chicago Fire. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was my
Well,
beard.
the good news is that myself and probably half America, we were looking for who to blame. Now we know.
Yeah, it was my fault.
We did not know that. Now I know who to be angry at.
Not only did I fuck up the guest spot on the Gen X Talks podcast, I created COVID. I did it. It wasn't the Chinese.
No, I didn't even know. Now I have had pent up anger for years. Now I know where to. Oh, thank God I can release some of that.
Xi Jinping's fault.
No,
It's not Fauci's fault.
No.
It's my fault.
it's Steve Harvey's fault. All right, so that brings me to sunny point number 2, and this is where I put you on the goddamn spot.
All right.
This is where the spotlight goes on you, and the camera start rolling, and I see my finger here. This is when I get serious, my man.
All right.
And
That's
it
right.
is
I just
little-
mamanned you. When I maman you, you know I'm serious. So if your podcast with Gen X Talks was so highly rated by your fans, and you talk about it so frequently with affection, how come you've never asked me back?
You know, funny story there. Because if you've listened to the recent podcasts and our conversations, in fact, the last podcast, I talked about being on the show and say, we got to bring that dude back.
Oh, yeah, now
Fake
now
fan.
you do.
You're a
What
fake
was it
fan,
before?
Dad.
Talked about it. We always talked about it. We've talked about that. I was like, oh, yeah, we got to get Gen X Dad back. I said, oh, hell yeah.
Look,
I
I'll
said,
pay the $50 to
Dad,
be on the
you're
show.
a fake fan. You're a fake fan, Dad. You're not listening to the podcast.
I am a fan. Hey, I got my wife to listen to the Friday podcast. We were on our way to Napa one time. I said, I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to the General and his wife. And by the end of the first episode, she's like, I really like this. She was
See,
laughing
he's
her
a real
ass off.
fan. He's a real fan of our podcast. You're a fake fan of his.
I'm not a fake fan of his.
Wow. Way to return the favor. You ask him on the podcast,
Is he not
and you're
here
a fake
in
fan.
studio?
You didn't even know he was talking about you in the recent podcast.
I always said, putting you and Larry in the same fucking room is like putting 2 Teddy Ruxpins in there and just letting you have at it.
I will tell you that when I did the guest spot on your show, there was a lot of times where he said stuff and I went, I would have said that. I would have said
Yeah.
that. Oh, he got to that before I got to that. I mean, it was very similar.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I drink with Larry. Greg's not a big drinker, so if you notice on the podcast, Larry and I are usually drinking. Greg will have like his little sippy cup of something. You know, if it's like a one of our favorite distilleries.
Yeah.
Out of Colorado, he'll have a little spot of that, but other than that, he'll have his iced tea or his root beer and his foofy drink, and it's just like I bring the crystal glasses out. Larry and I are just sitting there drinking, just like fuck it, you know. And Larry's wife, let me tell you about Larry's wife. Sherry is no joke. I will not ever try to outdrink her. She can drink me under the table.
You found a girl that can drink you under the table.
And I can keep up with Irish dock workers.
Yeah, and not her. Wow.
Oh no, baby girl pre-games on she pre-games. It's like my wife and her get together because basically Larry and I kind of give up and say we leave it to the social director. So my wife will call me and say, well, honey, I talked to Sherry, and we're going to go for pizza tonight at Loomis Basin. Okay, sounds good. I asked Larry, do you know about this? No, I'll find out about it when I get home.
Yeah, you just get told where to be and what time, and you show up.
Oh yeah. When Sherry and Larry come to our house, they got a cooler. Sherry's got a whole bunch of bottles of ale in there, Sierra Nevada, and she pre-gamed. It's like, hey, in the morning of, hey, what's Sherry up to? Oh, Sherry's pre-gaming. She's drinking her mimosas. Or, hey, I found this really cool mimosa drink. So,
well, speaking of drinking with friends, I'm not sure if you're going to be happy that I'm bringing this up or you're going to find a way to be pissed.
No.
Well, I'm going to go for it anyway.
Go for it.
All right. What are you doing January 27th?
January 27th, I have no clue what
It's
I'm
like a
doing
Saturday,
January.
I think.
Huh?
I think it's like a Saturday.
I have no clue. What am I doing January 27th?
Well, there's an opportunity. This is the third time. This is the third annual. We go to the Red Rock Casino in Las Vegas off the Strip, and we rent out one of their big bowling alley lanes, and they have alcohol. We got food, and it's just for Gen X Talks fans, the good fans, the people that, and it's kind of fun because everybody shows up like, oh, you're that name. They could put faces with names in the comment. They've all been talking to each other for years.
Okay.
We hang out. Everybody has drinks. We talk food. We take pictures. They have two hostesses and a bartender there for us.
Okay.
And it's just once a year, and we stay there for like 3 days because just not only is there that one main event, but everybody kind of gets together with phone numbers. Like, hey, they all went go-kart racing.
Oh,
during the day, they all went to do this thing. There was a group of them that went to do that. They all just kind of informally go, hey, we should all go. And then you say it. I say, well, there's a group of people going here. If you guys want to be part of it, here's the email. Yeah. Then they hang out. But then the big event, we go, and Gen X Talk staff shows up. We get them from all over the country in there.
Oh, wow.
There's people that have already bought their plane tickets and already paid for their rooms and said, I am going.
Okay.
They're already there. That means they're already on their way. So if you had a chance, even if you just came out for the night and stayed just for that, it would be worth it because there's, especially from when I was on your podcast, the people went and saw it. Right. And then now that you're going to be on this one, people go, I know who Scotty is. When you show up, there'll be a ton of people that go, I know exactly who you are.
Nice.
And it's a fun time. And I'm telling you, the caliber of people that watch the program and then decide to take their time, their energy, and their money to go, they're just like us.
Oh, right.
There's not assholes that show up. They're not going to spend money to go do this and then be a dick.
Exactly.
They show up because they go, man, I just want 3 days where I can hang around with people that think like me and talk like me. I want to get drunk. I want to run around half naked. And I just want to be amongst people that are my friends.
Right on.
And strangers become friends every year there.
I freaking love that.
It just letting you know it's a gig.
Okay.
And if you want a ticket, you got to buy the ticket. Do the Bill Cosby. If you want to get the ticket, you got to buy the ticket. So my son got the ticket to the Eddie Murphy show. If you want a ticket, you just got to talk to my wife on your way out, and she'll make sure you get one.
Okay, groovy.
And then I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, let me figure out what my schedule is. That's a possibility. I want to talk to the guys.
I should have just called Tiny Wife and said, have him show up on this day.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, see, you've caught me at a fortuitous time.
Well, that's wonderful. I know what the word fortuitous means because even though I'm a $3 guy and that is most certainly a $12 word, I had it explained to me.
Because back in March of this year, because as I stated on the podcast, it ain't exactly been Black Boy year. So back in March, my company of 29 years decides to shit can a whole bunch of people, and I ended up in the shit can.
What?
Oh yeah, I got the axe. I technically got to retire, but
so between the meal we shared together and today, you got canned.
No, I was shit canned then.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, because that was back in May.
Oh, is that how you were able to come on a weekday?
Yes, exactly. Which is why I still am able to come on a weekday. So, I get shit
God, I'm an insensitive ass. I didn't mean to bring that up like that.
Dude, no. You have not listened to the podcast because this is tame compared to the weekend after I got the axe. I went to dinner with Larry, Sherry, my wife's Brazilian friend and her husband. We all got together to drink, and the jokes that flew about my unemployment, it was so bad that Larry's wife, Sherry, was like, I don't know if we should have said those things. You think he's okay?
Someone probably thought you're going to need therapy after that if it was that bad.
Honestly,
that's tough.
I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to be perfectly candid and honest on this podcast because I think it's important.
All right.
I did. I was a fucking wreck. 29 years with the same company. I have never not worked since I was 14.
You take it personal, don't you? I mean, you can't not.
Personal.
You can't not.
I mean,
People say, well, you got paid that whole time.
Yeah.
You were, don't get all emotional. You were there, but you got paid. You had a job. They paid you. They fulfilled their part of this relationship. You're like, it's personal, man.
It's very personal
Yeah.
to the point where my wife last year, or actually the year before, like around November, she found her birth mom because my wife was adopted. So through 23andMe, one of the relatives reached out to her and said, hey, I think, my grandmother might be your mother. It turned out being the case. So we went and visited February of this year. And I was, I'm calling vacation. I'm going to go on vacation. My counterpart was going to Europe. So it's like, okay, well, who's going to do the work? Because there's no one else to do work but her or me. And I said, look.
Now, remind me what type of job you did, because it was.
I do telecommunications.
I was going to say it was a production deal of some sort.
Yeah, I was a project manager in telecom. And I said, okay, fine. I will work the vacation a couple of hours a day. So I wound up working like 4 or 5 hours a day for 3/4 of my vacation. I get back that week, and that Friday, my boss calls me and tells me, you are one of the people we're laying off. And I'm just like, wow, I got so. Now, when I look back on it now, but at the time, I'm like, I am so.
That's a big hit in your life, and on many levels, not just financial, but it's an emotional. And plus, that was your routine.
Yeah.
You've been doing that routine for 29 years.
Yeah.
I don't care what people say when they're like, well, it's no big deal. You fulfilled your part. They fulfilled the bullshit.
It's a big fucking
It's
deal.
a big deal.
I mean, the worst part for me, because, my father stays with me. I brought him to the house because he, the plan was always for him to retire with us because he has nobody else. And then he got into an accident a few years ago. So we went to Iowa to bring him back. So
Yeah.
He got a rod in his leg because he got hit by a car. So the hardest thing was 5 minutes after I get this call, my wife comes and visits me because she works from home too. So
Yeah.
she goes out of her home office to come to my home office with that cute little happy face of hers. And I was just like, I have to tell this woman that I just got shit canned. And then I was telling her, and she just like, and that's a beautiful woman. She looked at me and says, you were there for me when I lost my job. We will get through this. It's okay. And I said, how do I even face my
What is
father?
her name?
Sue.
Sue? There couldn't be a better thing for a woman to say to support her guy than what you just did. And there's too many women that don't. So I'm drinking this one to you, Sue, right now.
Amen.
My man.
To Tiny Wife. And I told her, I said, how do I, and I'm 53, 54 years old. How do I look my father in the eye and say I lost my job? I mean, that doesn't fucking
But you
change.
didn't lose it because of something you
Right.
did. Come on, man.
But you still feel
I know,
like
I
that.
know, but it's
And
like
it took me 2 days to face him. Now my father is like I said, I don't know if you've heard the rumblings in the house, man, but yeah, I got laid off. And my father looks and just says, in total, my father has a deep, raspy voice and kind of mumbles a little bit. So he's just like, wow, ain't that a bitch? Damn, man.
ain't that a bitch?
Damn, Scotty.
And then just walks out like,
Yeah, he was just like, that's some shit, man. It was just, and I was just like relieved in a way, but then I'm just kind of like, okay, so what do I do now? So I've been doing the mad dash to look for work. Now I'm happy to report. Last week, I got a job offer from a telecom concern, making about 30% more than what I was making.
good.
at the
Let
company.
them know you need January 27th off. Just
Absolutely.
let them know. That's a important thing.
So I was just like, so yeah, it's fortuitous that you mentioned this because it's like when you reached out to me, it's like, I got to reach out to the general because, yeah, I want to do the show. And it was like, hey, this works out perfectly because I only have this week, next week, and I start on the 27th. So my weekdays are going to be with work.
Yeah.
But back to what I was going to and what we were talking about, losing your job at that stage, especially in our generation, because our generation, the dream, quote unquote, the average dream was I go to school, go to college or learn a trade. I work, if it's corporate, work middle management, make enough money. I can go on a couple of trips, live my life, save enough money, retire and die at the same company for 20, 30 years. This is the promise that was made to us, quote unquote. And then we get slammed with this. So I'm facing this and honestly, there was a show you did once about suicide, and I was just like, I put it this way, and I don't want to freak anybody out who listens to this, but I had about a 20-second thought about eating a bullet from my gun. About 20 seconds. Because I was just like...
They're real moments, man.
Yeah.
And people don't... That was episode 30 on a podcast, and I probably have more emails and phone calls and messages about that episode.
Yeah.
I don't even... You know what? I'll tell you the truth about that. That I turned... It's not a video podcast.
Right.
It's just
Yeah, I
audio.
remember.
But I remember sitting by myself. I was the only one home. And I said, well, I need to record something because usually at that point, the kid and I were recording stuff together. Those early episodes were my son and I. And nobody was home. I said, we got to put out a podcast. And I remember a song came on. And God, what was the name of it now? It's by Boston. Amanda. No, not Amanda. I can't remember now. It was a song that came on by Boston. And it took me back in time, and I started having some of those feelings of anxiety and of suicide. No, just a fleeting.
Yeah.
It passed, but I remembered. I thought, oh shit, I remember that time in my life, and I started talking on the podcast.
Yeah.
And it was if you notice, it's unedited.
Yeah.
I just went all the way through from beginning to end, and I pressed stop, and I went, oh shit, should I post that? Because I touched about how real those things can be.
Yeah.
You know, and mine lasted 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, mine lasted 12 years.
Yeah.
I had 12 years of waking up at 3:30 in the morning and just laying there grabbing the bed going, don't move, just wait. It'll pass in an hour or so. And just don't get out of bed.
I remember you talking about
that. You don't
that,
get out of bed, you can't fuck up.
Right.
So just stay here and deal with it every day for 12 years. And it finally started to go away. It didn't just stop. It went away a little bit at a time until finally, like right now, if I have any kind of a weird thought like that, it's like you say, 20 seconds when you're like, oh shit, this sucks, fuck it. And then it goes away.
Yeah, I put it to you this way. One of the reasons why, and it's maybe an exaggeration, it might have been a little longer when I actually thought about it.
I took your meeting.
I thought about it, and it's just kind of like, if I went through with it, a lot of my friends are cops, first responders, and such, and I'm like, yeah, doing that, I won't be responsible for putting that in someone's head. And as you said, and you said it beautifully, you said, I thought about it, and then who's going to find me? And again, even if it's not your significant other or your children, it's somebody who's got that image in their head.
Yep.
I talk to people and, including vets, and I have a friend of mine who I drink with, crazy Irish son of a bitch. He was a Nam, chopper pilot, and a grunt. And he said he still wakes up with fucking night terrors.
I can't imagine some of the stuff that soldiers that have been in actual combat have gone through. I have nightmares of things that I have watched happen when I spent some time with Hell's Angels in a club for a few years.
Yeah.
And that's nothing compared to combat. Nothing at all.
Exactly.
I can't imagine that even living that way as a veteran. I would never be able to pretend that I have an inkling of what they go through. I can't imagine.
Yeah, much respect. Toast to them.
Toast to them right now, raising that glass. Absolutely.
So, yeah, and, my point to all this is when I was in that real fucking dark place, and it was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm a loser. I fucked my life up. And none of this is true, but this is what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And it's like, I came to a point where it's like, I need fucking help. Picked up the phone, called Kaiser and just said, hey, I'm in trouble. I need to talk to somebody. And I'm going to say this to whoever's listening. Brother, sister, you're not fucking alone. There's no shame for asking for help. It's just, when I went to my therapist, it's like we tackled a lot of ugly shit.
Right.
Because it was not only this, but some other ugly shit. And that I had to deal with coming up, the shit that I faced. And then this, cumulative on that.
Right.
And fought through it. And it's one of the reasons why, when she was telling me, she says, okay, take this opportunity, figure out what you want to do. It's like you're doing everything right. Because we all think, when we get laid off, okay, I'm going to dedicate 8 hours a day. This is my job, looking for a job. Can't do it. Doesn't work. You do a few hours or whatever, and I was always on edge. It's like
but looking for a job can be a full-time job. You can't just sit.
Right. And
You gotta do
feel like,
something.
yeah, you got to do something. And I'm all over the place. It's like, I got to find work. And then you go through the whole, and the process now. Again, being a Gen Xer, it used to be, you fill in an application, someone will call you, you go talk to a real person.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you basically fill out something online. It goes through a bot. Your resume goes through a bot. If you have
Yeah.
the happy little words,
You
they
don't get
say,
to talk to anybody.
right. If you're lucky, you'll talk to somebody. And then what happened to me more than once, like 3 or 4 times, it was, man, we really like you. You are great. You've got so much experience, but we're hiring internally.
Yeah.
Thank you for playing. Here's some Z-Brick and
Yeah.
Rice-A-Roni.
Well, 2 things come to mind
Yeah.
from your topic there. One was, if you, we do a lot of live streams.
Yeah.
It's different than doing a podcast because you have people interacting with you all the time. Like I mentioned, I have a team of people that will pull comments out and put them on this screen over here so I can
Yeah.
see what we call the sheets. But inevitably, someone will come into the live stream, will come into the comments and go, I don't want to live anymore. I'm done. And it's a very, when that first happened to me and I saw it go through, I didn't have any moderators really at the time.
Right.
This is way back when. And I saw the guy and he kept saying it. No one was acknowledging him.
Yeah.
And I had to stop and I said, okay, look, man, you're talking about this. I said, all right, what's your gig? What are you doing? And I sat there and I addressed him as best as I could.
Yeah.
And I had to look. There's 2 things that and now here we have a guy named Two Bear who's on staff. He's
Yeah.
he's great, one of the best senior staff guys you can have.
Okay.
When people come in there, that motherfucker is with phone numbers.
Right.
Give you my phone number, give me your email, let me call you, let me contact you. Here's a phone number. Here, what city do you live in? I will call someone in that city to contact you.
Yeah.
He fucking whatever this various things he gets after. He didn't let someone go.
Right.
He takes that shit seriously. What I do, and I haven't done it as much recently, but back in the day when you communicate with somebody during a live stream, let's face it, it brings the whole mood of the live stream down.
Oh, yeah.
I have to find a way as a host to genuinely speak to this person as best as I can,
Yeah.
and then find a way to quickly transition back to smiles
Yeah.
and happy and carrying on. And I found that is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
And I will never not try to do it. I will never say,
Amen.
well, I'm skipping over that motherfucker because it's going to be I'm not bringing the show down.
Yeah.
People will leave. People are going to leave the program. And then I won't have, how do you bring the mood back up? I don't care.
Right.
I don't care if everybody leaves and I'm just talking with, it hasn't happened in a while, but for the first 2 years, it happened all the time.
Yeah.
And I tell people, I say, listen, if I talk to them, I say, I'm not trying to push you to the side here, but this isn't a self-help, type of live stream.
Right.
I said, I'm talking to you. I'm totally listening to you. I'm sensitive. We talked for 20 minutes of an hour show.
Yeah.
But you know what? You're kind of okay now. We're talking. We kind of pulled you up a little bit. So here's some numbers. Here's what you do. And then let's get back to the program.
Right.
But I would never just not respond. And they happen. I would never not say something. And Two Bear jumps in there. His name's John. He will fucking make it his life's ambition. Because like you say, it hits you.
Yeah.
And it's real.
Yeah.
And he ain't fucking around. And while we're all going on with our life and we can hit turn off the program, that dude's still right where you left him.
Exactly.
And it's a big deal.
Yeah, and sometimes I think people just want to know they're not alone, especially now. It's like, the whole social media thing, and I feel like I'm on a soapbox, but, you have 500 Facebook friends, but how many friends do you have really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And Larry and I have a joke, and it's something Larry says. It's like, and this qualifies for Larry and Greg. If one of those motherfuckers called me at 2 a.m. and said, meet me in front of my house with a shovel, duct tape, trash bags, and unlicensed firearm, I'm going to be like, you want snacks too?
Yeah.
And I'm there.
What's that other line? Whose car we taking?
Exactly.
Well, it's when I talked to you a little bit about the bottom of the glass nation.
Yes.
The kid has developed 2.6 million followers or viewers on all his platforms, but we probably have 1,000 bottom of the glass nation members that I bet between staff and myself we could tell you 800 of their names. That's how often they're there. That's how the events they come to. When we have something we need help with financially to do something, they're the guys who step up and do it. They come right there. They're part of the program. And there's some that are more at the top because they're always involved in every platform, in everything we do. But I mean, overall, there is a real bottom of the glass nation that we all, some people drink coffee. I don't care if you drink coffee.
Doesn't
We're
matter.
drinking together. We're raising glasses. We're talking about stuff. Some of it's serious.
Yeah.
Some is just fucking around. But there is a core group of people out of 2.6 million. What is that? 0.00001%. It's a very small number, but they mean everything to us. That group means everything to us.
Dude, that rocks. I like that.
It's a
I
big
like that a
fucking
lot.
deal. And I like it. I like being part of that. I like, we talk. I read their comments and respond. I say shit, and they respond to me. So it's not like really being at a bar.
Yeah.
But we're all drinking, and it's kind of like being at a virtual bar. We're all drinking and talking to each other. You get to say stuff, and so do I.
Right.
Josh Maddox is on staff. I love that kid. He's one of the coolest cats I know, and he dubbed it. He goes, "This is the best bar ever." He goes, "This is absolutely a bar of 1,000 people that come hang out, and we all just talk. We get mad, we get angry, we cry about shit,
Yeah.
we fuck around." He's right. We made T-shirts, best bar, best period bar period ever period because of Josh. Because he's right.
The beautiful thing, and see, that's what the cigar community is all about, and which is why I really got into this, because basically the cigar lounge is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter how much you spent on a cigar. Greg talked about this on the show. I mean, at one point you could be sitting next to a millionaire, project manager, low level,
Or
if you
some
wanna
dude
call
who
it.
walked in with his last $10 and bought a cigar.
Oh, we actually smoke with a full-fledged schizophrenic. I mean,
I didn't know my wife smoked cigars.
So random.
I
That
had
is
no-
just so,
Yeah, that's
brought that out of
random people.
nowhere. That was
this
like,
guy, the person I'm speaking of was a diagnosed schizophrenic.
just.
He,
Hey, you know, this one time I smoked with a schizophrenic out of nowhere.
Wait, think about how he got there. How would you know that? Because one minute the guy's talking about, "My name's Bob and I work on cars." He takes 2 drags and goes, "My name's Phil and I'm a pilot." How did he determine? I want to know how he determined he was a schizophrenic.
They were hanging
let
out.
me tell you
Or
why
did he
we
show
knew.
his card?
Hold on, I'm going to tell you right now why we knew he was a schizophrenic. He stapled carrots to the inside of his pockets. He got onto the phone.
Okay, wait. How does that mean split personality?
No. I'm not done yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. I do apologize.
So he was talking about in the lounge. He was talking about something about he thought his dogs were plotting against him. Literally, and Greg, fucked up as he is, he says he gets on the phone. He says, "Yeah, okay, got yeah. I'll tell him. I'll let him know. Okay, all right, thanks. Bye." Hey man, those were your dogs. They said don't come home tonight.
He did not do that.
Yeah, he walked
Tell me
around.
he did not
no,
do that.
he did. The cat walked around, I'm not naming names, with a soup can, and he drank coffee out of this old soup can. He even told us by his own admission, he is a diagnosed schizophrenic, medicated, and we could tell when he wasn't on his medication. We had another cat. One day, it's me, another buddy of mine who's a financial planner, and this other cat who's an engineer. And we were talking about ex-wives and bad divorces. And he says, I have these really vivid dreams of murdering my ex-wife. I imagine I'm on the roof of something and she's walking into our house and I shoot her and I kill her. And I wake myself up and I have to call her to make sure she's still alive.
Wow.
I'm sitting here like, I'm thinking about, my first one was a bit of a battle axe, but I mean, I'm not going. It's like, do you think you're talking to OJ? I'm not OJ. No.
We don't need to have common ground on this
I
topic.
don't own a white Bronco. I don't have, my best friend lives in Tampa. He's not going to come to Orange County and be like, "Hey, this is Anthony. Scott's driving. He's got a gun." I'm like, no.
I'll tell you stupid stories as you're talking about the phone call with the I knew a lady that worked at the cable company back when I lived up in Oregon, and I was having all sorts of issues, and it wasn't just problems; it was like neighborhood problems. And I finally called her, said, "You're my friend. I don't bother you with this shit." But she goes, just come down." So she takes me back into the cable company, back to her office, and she's pretty high up in the ranks.
Yeah.
And this one woman, her secretary, kept coming in saying, "You got to take this call. It's this guy." She goes, "I'm not talking to that fucking lunatic." And all she said to me was, she goes, "This guy calls his cable company, and he's something wrong with him. But he calls and screams at people, so no operators want to take care of him." So I said, "All right, well, I get you." And then we start talking. The lady comes in again. She goes, "No, you need to take this call." So she goes, "All right." And she goes, "I'm going to put him on speaker. You just be quiet." I said, "I'll be quiet." So she puts this guy on speaker, and he's screaming, and he knows her because they've had conversation. She goes, "Is this you, Carolyn? Is this you?" He goes, "Yeah, it's Carolyn. What's going on now? You need to get out here right now. I keep calling everybody, and no one will come out and take care of this." She goes, "What's going on?" I forget his name, Mr. Jones or whatever. "What's going on?" And she goes, "There are little yellow men coming out of my wall, and they are from the cable company. You guys have done this. Your equipment has caused this. The things in the wall that you put in, little yellow men coming out, and if you don't get down here right now, I'm calling the sheriff. This is absolutely..." I'm listening to this cat tell the story, and I'm being quiet. Okay? She gets done. She goes, and Mr. Jones or whatever his name is, she goes, "Okay, Mr. Jones, did you say they were yellow?" And he goes, "Yeah, little yellow men." She goes, "Yeah, the little men that work for us are green. You need to call the power company." That's what she said. She told the guy that with a straight face, and then the guy said, "I'm really sorry, Carolyn. I didn't know that. I apologize. I'll give them a call," and hung up.
Well, at least she didn't say the phone company.
That was absolutely a true story. This is a fucking guy. Can you imagine being at the power company? The cable company already told me these little yellow men are yours, motherfuckers. That don't say they're not.
Oh, that's good. I would not have thunk that. That's beautiful.
I wouldn't have either. And she clicks and goes, "Okay, how can I help you?" And I'm like, who cares anymore? That was absolutely brilliant. But, you got to imagine when you're in a position like that, where you're in charge and you deal with that shit, you do learn a few tricks of the trade. You have to.
You do.
Hey, speaking about cigars, I always tell a joke because I am not a cigar aficionado, but I smoke Del Sols. I don't think I got a newer one. Mine are probably a little dried. I'll still give you one if I got one, but it may come apart on you a little bit. But I always joke on. I love a Del Sol. My brother-in-law turned me onto those 15 years ago, and I talk about them as if I know, and I don't. I said, "It's this and it's that, and it's a real smooth draw." And I've heard stuff in movies, so I sound the part.
It's an oily wrapper.
Yeah, I learned some terminology because let me tell you, in here, as on all my live streams, everything I say is made up. I've plagiarized everything I've ever said to anybody. I've stolen it from movies or TV or music. There was a plethora of stuff to rob from the 80s, and so it's easy to do. I haven't had an original thought in my head since 1973. With that being said,
all right,
I tell people about the cigars when I say, "These are Del Sols," and I bought a box of them, and right on the side of the box, it gives you the advertisement. One side of the box says, "Sun Blessed," which is a good thing. The other side says, "Hand wrapped in the laps of virgins," which I thought was great for about the first couple years I was saying that. Till my wife goes, she was drunk one night, she goes, "Is it girl virgins or guy virgins?" See that look you got? That's what I did. I did that. I went, I did that. I went, well, I assumed it. Now you fucked up my cigars. She did that. She fucking...
That was good.
Out of nowhere, she goes, "Yes, it didn't really say, is it women or guys?" And I went, "Plug, I don't know."
Oh.
So I don't say it as often as I used to. All right, if I got a couple in there, I'll give you one to take home with you. But
all right, sounds good.
They just got a little bit of a... They got a very light, sweet vanilla wrap to them, and flavor, and I like it. It's just but it's my favorite cigar because I got stuck on that. And then my brother-in-law got me on another one. No, just tobacco flavor only was. I'm going to say this wrong, so correct me. Luciano. Yeah, he got me on the little yellow on the label.
Yeah, I think though.
Or it
You're
did.
thinking Luciano's.
I might have one somewhere,
okay.
but my wife got me a cigar banned book where
Nice.
you take it and all the
Yes.
cigars you tried. It's like 60 pages, and you take and you write what it is and how you felt about it. Where you got, you write it like a journal. You glue
Yes,
it.
the cigar journal.
Yeah, you glue the band in there so you can
Yes.
see it, and you talk about it. It's got one in it for after 20 years. It's got one. Del Sol's my favorite, and then I closed the book and never put it.
You're my fucking spirit animal. Because Greg came up with this idea when we went together to Colorado the last time, which I think was last year. He said he got these books off Amazon and he put on the Beyond the Humidor seal and gave them to a couple of us. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's a cigar journal. So, like, when you smoke something, you can put the band on there and give your impressions and all of this. And I haven't. I mean, I
'Cause
use
we're
that
not-
to put notes in.
Okay, look, we're not Dear Diary guys.
Right.
We don't go home at night and crawl up on the bed and go, Dear Diary, today, I never did that
Today,
shit.
Biff asked me to the dance. And then after the dance, we went to the soda hop.
Yeah.
And then he talked about this. And I was on cloud
I've never
nine.
been that guy. I've never journaled. I've never diaried. I don't know. So when my wife, she goes, aren't you using your journal? Aren't you using your cigar journal? I went, all right, give me a pen. And I glued the thing in, then I go, favorite cigar. Click. And I've never put another thing in it since then.
Yeah, I think Greg and our number one fan fill that thing out faithfully. Larry and I is just kind of like, I grab a cigar. The last thing I want to fucking do is do a homework assignment on my cigar. It's like, I want to cut it, light it, smoke it, sit back on my balcony in the lounge and go,
I'm not going to sit there and think about what I'm going to write when this experience is
Yes.
over. All right, let me ask you this before we go, because we got to go.
away. Alrighty.
What would it be if the kid ran the program and had you, myself, and Larry sitting here? How would that go?
Oh, remember when I said 2 Teddy Rex spins in a
Come
room?
on now.
Oh, that would be the shit.
Should we set that up? Should we try to do that? Should we pick a day and try to do that?
I have a plan. Actually, Tiny Wife had this plan. Because when I told her I was doing this, she was kind of like, well, why don't you wait? And then when we can get Sherry and Larry and we go up there in the RV in the Hickory Bronze October and we come out and then just do the weekend, we have the RV and then you guys do the show. I say, oh, that will come in the future. But since I have the opportunity to do this now, I'm going to do this
look,
now.
When we do stuff and wives come out, they hang out with my wife. Everybody gets along great.
Oh, your
problem
wife,
at all.
your wife, my wife, and Sherry will get along beautifully.
See, then they just need to leave us alone unless
Yep.
we need a little servicing out here and they can bring us some goddamn stuff. When we ring the bell, they come run. That's all we need from you, all right?
Yeah, Tiny Wife is great, but I don't know if she will give me that look of hers. It's just kind of like, she knows when I'm displeased with her when I say Suzanne or I go, woman.
Yeah.
Then she knows I'm not happy. And then she just looks at me and just like,
We do that with my
Sure,
wife,
honey.
where I'll say stuff like, "Look, if I want any lit from you, I do. You do what I tell you." And I tell you, this whole thing. She gets to a point where she looks at me like, "That's enough. You say one more fucking thing, I'm gonna hurt you." And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm just fucking around."
my wife just ignores me and just go, yeah, sure. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
whatever.
wife plays along with it the whole way. We've been in restaurants with many people, and I'm like, I'll start a fight with her or something. I go, you know what? I can't wait to get home to divorce you. She goes, I can find somebody we can be divorced in half an hour. There's probably an online service with a credit card and a signature. I go, look it up, sign us up right now. Fuck it, sign it. And we joke like that, but there's been people in the restaurant that go, oh shit. Other people in the restaurant went home going, I saw people get divorced today, right in the restaurant. We were in Outback Steakhouse and people got divorced.
Oh, my.
All right, kid, you ready to switch cameras around? Let's listen. It has been a blast having you down here.
Hey, man, it's been great.
I appreciate you making the drive.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you sitting. We just got this thing going.
Yeah.
And I think you're the second in studio guest we've had.
Right on.
And we got a bunch lined up and logistically, but I'm so glad you made the drive down here. So, Scotty, say goodbye to everybody at home.
All right. Y'all take care. Good smoke, good drink, good life.
That's what he's trying to tell you. If you guys don't know, that's Scotty from Beyond the Humidor. You got to look up. We'll put a link in the description. I was a guest on their show one time. Never was invited back because they don't like me, but I want to come back again. But it's a good program. You guys, it doesn't have the following it deserves. I can promise you that. So if you want to check out some casual conversation and three dudes who have a great time together, you can tell they're all really good friends because they get along. Thank you guys for tuning in. The audio portion of this will be up sooner. The video portion will be up later. Wherever you're going around this world listening to us, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps you're listening to us on the Armed Service Radio Network. Remember two things: wherever you go, there you are, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.